Welcome to the Empower Her Moments morning show, where we create intentional mindset shifts, empower women to embrace their potential, and open their hearts to their deepest desires. Join Margot, the beauty guru, your self-love and business strategist, and Dr. Alicia A. Williams, your transformation and empowerment coach. These dynamic women are here to guide you, inspire you, and uplift you. Together, they'll help you unleash your potential and own your journey. It's time to step into your greatness. Let's get started.
Do you often find yourself saying yes to everyone's requests, even when it leaves you feeling overwhelmed and drained?
You know what, Dr. Lisa? A lot of us have dealt with not being able to say no. We've dealt with that. But fortunate enough for me, honey, I didn't learn how to say no. I have absolutely no problem with saying no. I'm so sorry. Thanks for the invite. I'm unavailable.
One of the things that I've learned, it took me a long time to do this, is because I wouldn't say I was a people pleaser, but I found myself wanting to be there for everyone else. And I started experiencing burnout. And so I had to understand no was a complete sentence and not to feel bad about it.
Well, the thing is this, I totally understand that, because, you know, most people who are people pleasers, they struggle in that space, you know, with just having the boundary to say, you know what, no. You know, a lot of times, listen, we have to understand that people who love and care for you, they're okay with hearing no. But I think society and just our community has equipped us and made us feel like we have to do things, all the time. And a lot of times, Dr. Leach, I think people feel like when they're busy or looking busy or always doing things, that it shows like some type of success or shows like this person is showing up for everyone else. But ultimately what we don't consider is the burnout. You know, what does that do for you? And not only that, when we show up in places, we want to show up as our authentic selves with energy to be in the room. We don't want to show up burnt out and overdue and, you know, just sloppy. We want to show up with that confidence.
I agree. One of the things that I've often learned is that a lot of times people show up because they feel that need of disappoint, or they feel like they're going to disappoint those individuals who they knew that they should have said no to because they had so much going on personally and professionally, but they did not want to disappoint them. Well, I've learned that no is a complete sentence. And 2025, ladies, we are saying no, because what I've learned is no is a form of empowerment to me. Because I've learned that if I pull back on some things and stop trying to be there for those who really are not going to be there for you, you will begin to start saying no, and with a smile, and do it unapologetically.
And you know what? I love what you mentioned, because that's another thing. You know, I'm the assessment. Honey. I'm always going to assess.
Let's assess it today, honey.
I'm going to always assess. And so this is the thing. I've learned in this season of my life, I show up for those who show up for me.
That's right.
A lot of times we equip ourselves and position ourselves, right, to say, hey, I'm going to, anytime anybody asks me, or, you know, anytime anybody asks me to be there, I'm going to be there. But you also have to understand, too, who are you showing up as?
Come on.
Who are you showing up as? I don't want you showing up at my event drained and, you know, you have an attitude, or you're not pleasant, or, you know, you're not a joy to be around. And a lot of times people really don't take that into account. You have to understand and look within and say, how am I showing up? You know, in these moments as well. Yes, I'm making 25 events a week, and I'm showing up. I have all this stuff on my social media, and I'm busy, and I'm ripping and I'm running. But the real thing is, what impact are you making? How are you showing up? Are you really supporting? Are you bringing energy into that space? Or would the person thought maybe you should have stayed at home?
Let me tell you, because if you are not showing up to truly support that person, it's going to show all over your body language.
That's true. And your heart and mind could be saying, I want to come show up and support. But the thing is, you have to think about how you're showing up. If you're not showing up and you're bringing energy and you're able to support that person and really be present and really be your alert self, why go? Why do that? Why stretch yourself so thin?
A lot of people do that because they don't want to simply disappoint the other people. That's truly what it truly boils down to. I've said yes to plenty of events, but at the end of the day, I really feel like they didn't truly invite me because they really wanted me there. They invited me because it was more about quantity.
That's good.
Let's look at that from a different perspective, ladies. A lot of times you receive these invites and you know, she really doesn't want me there, or they really don't want me there, but I'm showing up because I think I'm there to support this person, but I'm not receiving that on the other end. It's more about the number.
Okay, but if you don't take that pause to assess what's happening, you'll never pick it up.
Right. Sometimes you don't see it right away.
Right.
You see it sometimes at the event.
Well, you start seeing it when they don't show up at your stuff.
Come on, bang, bang.
You start seeing it when you're sending the invites to them and they're not showing up for you.
And it's always an excuse.
Absolutely.
You know what? Thank you. But let me tell you what I've learned to do in this season, ladies. Here's what I want you to do. Start saying no and just say, you know what? Thank you so much for the invite, but unfortunately, I cannot be in attendance this time. Don't explain yourself, because I can almost assure you when the shoe turns, you're probably not even going to get a response.
Or, sorry, I ain't gonna be able to make it.
That's it.
That's all. That's it. That's all. Ladies, listen, it's so important. And we're talking about this because it's something that we all have dealt with a time or two. Today in 2025, my answer is no. It's a solid no. And I'm okay with it being a no.
With a period.
With a period, okay? What we have to understand, you all, is that, listen, you have to show up and be your best self at all times. Your brand, who you are, your name, who people perceive you to be, it speaks for itself in those rooms. And if you're showing up and you're burnt out and you're tired, man, that's just not the way to go. So I encourage you all to make sure you have boundaries. Boundaries in place to assess if it's something that you can or cannot do. Dr. Alicia, what do you think in those spaces when women are feeling guilty? Because like you said, you know, it was something that you struggle with, just really wanting to be there, not wanting to disappoint people. So what steps did you take to position you in a space where you're now learning? Because one thing, y'all, about Dr. Alicia, she says no with the period, okay? So we're going to find out, how did she build that courage and that tenacity to be able to say no and put a period on the end of it?
Well, it goes back to, I've learned that I was filling everybody else's cup and wasn't filling my own.
Love that.
Let me tell you, we often hear that term, or how are they pouring back into you? When I realized, it took me a while to see it. Well, let me back it back a little bit.
Okay, let's do it.
Sometimes you see things and you choose to overlook them, but you choose to give people the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, that really wasn't what I thought it was, but it actually was what you saw.
Right.
However, in this season, I started learning that, you know what, if they're not reciprocating that same support, I'm not going to give it as well. I wish you the best, but unfortunately, I cannot be there.
I agree.
So I started paying attention to those who were actually showing up for me and were showing up genuinely. Let me say that again.
Yes.
Because sometimes people will show up, but they're showing up for their own purpose. How it's going to benefit. I'm going to show up in the room because I feel like I can make the connections, but I'm really not showing up for Margot, who actually invited me.
Correct.
I see that quite often amongst circles and amongst women at different events and so forth. They're not showing up for the actual person. They're showing up to see what they can receive from that. It actually becomes transactional. We talked about that in a few episodes later.
Yes.
So pay attention to that.
Yeah. Well, I like that assessment and just talking it through the things to look at, ladies, because this is the thing. We're all here to grow. We're all here to figure things out. But the burnout and the overextending yourself, those days are long gone, because let's be clear. We wear a lot of hats, right? We're wives, we're mothers, we're significant others, we're daughters, we're friends, right? So we have to take that into account. We're business owners. We have jobs. People are counting on us to make decisions. So outside of showing up for everyone else, these are the things we deal with. These are the things that are on our plate every single day. And what we do is we position ourselves where we make ourselves available to other people. And like you were saying, to your point, always pouring out, pouring out and not receiving. And so that's why this topic is so important, because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're in reciprocated relationships.
You have to.
You're assessing. And like a lot of times, and listen, ladies, I know I talk about assessments all the time, but listen, you have to be able to pull back and watch and look at what you're doing. If you never take the time to do the assessment, how are you able to know how far you've come or where you're even going if you don't assess the situation? And it's crazy because so many of us struggle with saying no.
Right.
No, and the thing is, it's a boundary. It's like a muscle, ladies. Once you try it a couple of times, try it in some safe spaces. Try saying no to, people that love you, that ain't
your
gonna
children,
really,
your
children, your
they ain't
family.
going nowhere.
Start at home first, where it's safe. But I promise you, once you start exercising that muscle, it's gonna come.
It's gonna come. But here's the thing: I've learned to say no with love.
Yes.
It's not that you're being nasty. It's not that you're being any other type of foul way. It's just simply, no, I love you, but unfortunately, I cannot be there.
Okay, so Dr. Alicia, give us another example of a love. Because listen, we diving in deep, okay? Because we want to give y'all some actionable too. So Dr. Alicia, I'm gonna act like I'm inviting Dr. Alicia somewhere because we're gonna help y'all out. If you're struggling,
let's do a little role play.
This is the show for. We're gonna do a little role play, okay? So Dr. Alicia, I'm having an event. What's today? Okay, I'm having an event coming up next Sunday.
Okay,
and I would love for you to be in attendance. It's a tea party, something nice, networking, bringing some ladies together, and I would love for you to be there.
You know what? Thank you so much, Margot. I would love to be there. Unfortunately, I've already committed to doing something with my family on that Sunday. And one of the things that I said that I was not going to do is sacrifice my family in this season. So I would love to be there, support you. I'll be there in spirit, but I cannot be there in the present.
You know what, Dr. Alicia? Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I love you, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Yes, that was amazing. Y'all, I felt love. I felt like she really cared about my event. She just couldn't make it.
Right.
Listen, ladies, it's just that simple.
And let me add to that point. The role play that we just did, that was natural, very natural. We are both mothers.
Correct.
We're both wives. And what we have to understand in the season, you're not saying no because you really don't want to be there, but what I've learned is I sacrificed so much over the last 10 plus years when it came to my family, and I decided that I'm not going to do it.
Good for you.
I decided I'm not going to do it. I decided that they will always come first.
Yes.
And sometimes we're put in a position where we have to say, you know what, babe, I got to go do this, or I tell my children. That is one of the reasons why I left my career. So let's talk about. I said no more to the late hours.
Yes.
Because I was tired of being that mom that was raising the two fingers at practice or at the dance recitals. I no longer wanted to be that mom that was showing up late for everything. So I had to say no more.
Right.
What is it that I really want? Ask yourself, ladies, what is it that you really want when it comes to, or the outcome that you're looking for when it comes to saying no? For me, it was my time freedom.
Yes.
I said no more late nights, no more traveling an hour and 20 minutes across Atlanta traffic. Oh boy.
Right.
I did that for 9+ years.
Yes.
I sacrificed a lot. So it got to a point, God said, you know what? You only get this one opportunity to be a mother. And you only have this one chance to make these memories with your children because you cannot get their youth back.
That's true.
And so I said no more. And I began to make the assessment and say, this is what I'm going to have to do. Whether I wanted to do it or not, it was what was necessary at the time for me.
And that was great, Dr. Alicia, you sharing that, because all of us can relate to that. All of us can relate to being in the hustle and the bustle of things, right? And still trying to figure out, because at the end of the day, ladies, sometimes we do too much.
Too much,
okay? So we have our jobs, we have our families, but we want to do this and we want to do this, that, and the third.
We want to be everywhere.
We want to be everywhere.
But we're only one person.
You're only one person.
And just simply say, you know what? I want to be there, but understand that in this season, I can only show up for the things that are aligned with my schedule.
I agree.
It's all about alignment.
And
I'm
at a place in my life where I'm very intentional.
You have to be intentional.
And my thing is, I want to be impactful. When I show up in rooms, when I show up at your event, one thing about me, and anybody who's been close to me, they understand this, I'm really big on support.
Oh, most
definitely. And so this was a real lesson for me that I had to learn, that, Margot, you can't be everywhere all the time.
Cannot.
And then it started, like you say, I started slacking up with things with my family and my children and my husband. And it caused me to just be tired and not really dealing with myself and sitting with myself. And so for me, my thoughts are, if I'm going to be intentional in this season to show up, if I tell you I'm going to come to your event, I am going to support you. One thing Margot is going to do, I'm going to come in the building and I will support.
That's right.
And if at any point I feel like I can't do that, if I can't show up as my authentic self and I can't show up as my best self, then you know what? I digress.
That's right.
Thank you so much for the invitation. And I think, so many people struggle with this, but you have to normalize saying no.
Normalize saying no with a period.
With a period. And be okay with it, and understand that the people that love and care for you and that really support you, because Dr. Alicia, I promise you, when we did our little role play, honey, I was like, listen, I understand, honey. Listen, take your time.
Let me tell you.
Look, I won't call you, call me.
Okay?
It's a way you can really do it.
And when it comes to saying no and pulling back, it's all in your communication.
Absolutely.
And if they truly love you, as you stated before, they're going to understand.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, if they know you, if they know you, they're going to know, this is coming from the heart. This is not, oh, she just don't want to be there to support me. They know what you have going on in your life.
Right.
And so they're going to say, you know what? I know you have a lot going on in your life. Thank you.
Right.
For just acknowledging my event or acknowledging what I have going on, but I understand that you cannot be there.
Yeah.
I'm in a situation like that this weekend in preparation for some things that I have coming up. I simply said, you know what, I love you. I want to be there to support you, but I cannot physically be there.
Right.
But I wish you well.
Right.
I'm screaming across the screen for you and across the mile for you.
But you know what I really understand too, Dr. Alicia? People who are mature in that space, because it takes a level of maturity to set boundaries in that space, to say, hey, I'm not going to run myself raggedy. But the thing is that people who have in a line with that boundary, they get it. They understand. Because one thing about me, I'm very busy. And some of my very close friends and people that I support are very busy as well, right?
Definitely.
But the thing is, there's always this understanding that, listen, we're both busy.
That's right.
Listen, if I can't make your event, I'm there in spirit. If you can't make mine, I know you're here to support me.
Exactly.
And that's perfectly okay. Ladies, let's stop putting that pressure
on
our girlfriends, on our good people that support us and really show up for us. Let's stop putting that pressure on them to make them or guilt trip them and to make them feel like they have to show up or they have to be at your event. What you have to understand is you have to stand confidently in whatever you're doing or hosting, right? No matter who's in the room. One thing about me, I'm going to show up, Dr. Alicia. Whether it's one person in the room, whether it's 100 people in the room, I'm going to show up. But those women who are close to me and support me in those times where they can't make it, listen, I understand wholeheartedly.
Right. I've had a lot of females just in my years, in my younger years, will play the guilt trip.
Right.
Will play the guilt trip of, well, I'm always there for you, but you're not there for me. Or it flips. However, what I've learned to do is, once again, go back to the assessment of those friends.
Right.
At the time. They were actually not your friends. Those were transactional friends.
That's right.
I mean, listen, we can talk about this thing full circle, what we've experienced as women, because we think about it. They were really not there to support me. They were looking to gain something from that.
Right.
But as one of the things that I've learned is, now that I am 40 plus years old, I understand that when my friends don't show up, or if they say that they cannot be there for me, do we ever stop and think as women, she has something going on too?
Right.
She may not have actually verbally stated what she's dealing with.
That's right.
Because we often hear the term, many people are dealing with silent battles that we know nothing about. So sometimes we have to learn to extend grace.
Yes.
Let me say this again, ladies. In this season, stop guilt tripping your friends when they don't show up to you, and understand, hey, she may have something going on. Give them the same grace that you will want in return.
You know what? You said a mouthful. You said honey, listen, you said a mouthful, because the thing is, it's grace.
Yeah.
It's that grace. It's the grace that we all need.
We all need.
And the thing is that it helps your relationship grow.
It does.
Ladies,
it does.
Listen.
That goes back to the maturity that we talked about.
When you can extend that grace. Because see, one thing about me, I can't deal with you and your feelings because I ain't show up.
Come on now. Because we're too old for that.
I can't deal with that.
We're too old for that.
I can't deal with that because at the end of the day, I'm very clear on the onset, I can't make everything. But it's so crazy because people will start mistreating you. They'll start treating you different. They'll start looking at you side-eye. They'll start talking about you to other people who don't know you, planting seeds about you. At the end of the day, ladies, we have to do better in this space. And this has a lot of women scared to interact with other women.
Exactly.
Because of the demands that we put on our friend girls, or the demands that we put in our friend groups. Listen, allow and give grace.
Exactly.
Understand that, you know what? I'm hosting this event. I'm doing this birthday party.
Exactly.
I'm doing this corporate event or whatever it is that you're inviting people to, and understand that your flight with it and what you're doing with this event is for you to do. And you never know who God will send, other people who are in the midst that really needs your attention, that really needs for you to pour into them. So at the end of the day, don't worry about who don't make it, who don't show up.
That's right. Don't get caught up in who's actually there, because those who are supposed to be there
will be
there. That's what you have to understand. Like you talked about earlier, and I used to say this often, I don't care if it's one person in the room. I'm going to treat that one person as if it's 1,000 people in the room and give them my very best self. But at the end of the day, I'm not over here in my feelings because Angie didn't show up. I'm not over here in my feelings because Susie chose not to come and support me today. If we don't stop this foolishness of stop expecting you from others. We talked about that in a prior episode, but it has to be constantly shared and repeated to so many females, because I see it every day. And then I see the subliminal messages have been thrown against because she wasn't there for me. Ask her, you don't know how she woke up this morning. You don't know what she went to bed with last night. There are so many things that we often deal with that we just don't speak about. So you getting in your feelings about why I didn't show up to your event, repeat, you don't know what's going down in my household.
And so that brings me to my next point. It's the selfishness for me.
That's the word.
It's the selfishness for me.
It's all about me.
It's all about me. And that right there, when I say, honey, that burns my gears.
Come on. Wait a minute. I gotta have a sip of this coffee right here, baby.
Go ahead.
I'm still a little high.
Okay.
That sense of entitlement is what we deal with.
It grinds my gears.
Selfishness, sense of entitlement. Wanting grace, but not willing to extend grace to other women. That is what we're dealing with.
Okay, but this is my thing. How could you not see me? If I'm your friend and I come support you, if you call me at any point, and let me tell you something. One thing about me, Dr. Alicia, I'm very thoughtful in spaces. So if my girlfriend called me, I could be in the middle of doing something, sis, and something came up, I ain't gonna be able to make it. My next question to them, sis, are you okay? Is everything all right?
Not like, what happened?
Yeah, or not sending you the voicemail because I don't want to answer, because girl, you gotta be out. Like at the end of the day, and this has happened, I've experienced this before.
Oh, we all have.
Yes, it's like at the end of the day, you know my struggles. You know what I have dealt with. You know what I'm enduring. You know the work that I'm putting in. How could you not think outside yourself and say, you know what, sis, I understand you're not going to be able to make it. I am here for you. If you need me, call me. Because that's one thing I do. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to check on my girlfriends, and I'm going to think outside of myself. And that's what it requires. It requires you to think outside your thinking. Get outside of you feeling like somebody not there to support you. Think about all the other 10 events that she showed up to. Think about all the times when you called her in the middle of the night, she got up and showed up for you.
Exactly. You having those conversations with her about the ideas and what you want to do. Those are the times that you should say, you know what? I am thankful for her. Even though she cannot be here for me, but she's been there for me. So these are the things that we deal with, ladies, every single day. However, I want you to focus on extending that grace. You have come up outside of yourself. This is not about you. It's so much bigger than you.
Absolutely.
It's so much bigger than you. The impact that you're making by showing that you care. Because when we say show up, and telling that person, no, I cannot physically be there, it's not to harm them in any way. It's just getting them to understand what you're currently dealing with. But I'm here for you, sis. I'm still rooting and cheering you on.
That's right. And so as we trail into this space, ladies, of supporting and figuring out how we can say no and have those healthy boundaries, understand that it's so important that we give each other grace. Understand that it's so important that you assess situations and understand when it's time to pull back. People that love you and care for you, they will support you, guys. Don't be afraid. And I suggest start doing it in safe spaces. See how it works. The people that love you will always understand that you're tired. They'll always understand that you have family obligations. They'll always understand that you have prior engagement. So listen, guys, for those of us who have been people pleasers, for those of us who have been in position where we felt like even we were going to work the room and not really be supportive for real. Because see, the thing is, we're talking to everybody. It's not just for one person or one specific person. This is for everyone everyone who's involved in the relationship.
That's right.
You have to be mindful of those things. You just have to be mindful.
And this works personally and professionally.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes I think back in my corporate years, the pressure of having to do something. No, I'm going to stay in my lane.
That's right.
I know my lane. So when we talk about no in relationships with friends, there's a no in relationship when it comes to professionalism.
Absolutely.
Know when to say no, because what I've always said is that, and I spoke about in a previous episode, is no one's given an award for the most overworked female.
They're not.
And no one's given an award for that best friend of the year. Let's be clear at the end of the day. It is okay to say no in these settings, in these relationships.
Absolutely. Dr. Alicia, this was an amazing talk,
yes,
because this is something that we all deal with. And the thing is, let's change it. Let's do the right thing, guys. Let's position ourselves where we're doing, in 2025, we're setting those healthy boundaries.
Healthy boundaries.
So that we can show up and be intentional and impactful, okay? So if you're still navigating this journey, Dr. Alicia and I are here to support you. If you would like to book your coaching session with us, visit our website, empowerhermoments.com, okay? And so thank you for joining us on the Empower Her Moments Morning Show. This episode is powered by Platinum Luxury Fleet, the ultimate transportation experience, okay? This company is global. So book your Black car service today at platinumluxuryfleet.com. Until next time, keep shining, stay empowered, and know that you are capable of amazing things. See you next time.
Have a great one, everyone. Thanks for joining us.